a slip in your palm and a hole in your chest. Black coffee on the felt, man, you look like a mess. 3-team parlay turned to dust in your hand. Now you stare at the chips like they made you this man. But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now. Hold on, hold on. Not tonight, not now. Hold on. Let me pull you out. That bell bites hard, but it don't get the crown.
What's up, everybody? It's Toad, back with you. Toadstool Sports Monday, August 17th. I have nothing to say. Don't listen to me, ever. Tampa Bay, absolute dog shit. That was a complete loser. I'm never going to play another minus 130-something favorite. I'm never going to do it. And then the other game should have been a win. Milwaukee Dodgers under. First 5 under, I think, would have been at worst a push. I think it was a 2-1 game at the end of 5. It was 4-1 in the 9th inning. And the thing goes over 7.5. All you need to do is avoid 3 runs in the 9th inning, and that's exactly what happens. Milwaukee gets 2 in the top of the 9th. Dodgers bullpen, fucking ass. And then Milwaukee gives up a run that's completely meaningless in the bottom of the 9th, except that was what put the game over. It went over by a half run. Fuck you. Just fuck you. I'm done with all of this. And the Red Sox are absolute fucking shit, which I guess I'm going to talk about when I talk about this game. I need to figure out a way to talk about these games faster, man. I just go way too into detail with this. I'm sick of it. I don't want to do it. St. Louis and Cincinnati are playing a doubleheader, so this is the first game today. We don't even know who Cincinnati's starting here. I think it's going to be a bullpen game because Rhett Lauder is next in the rotation, but he's pitching the night game. So Cincinnati is either going to call somebody up for this game or it's a bullpen game, so we have no idea. St. Louis is going to go with Quinn Matthews in this one. Bullpen-wise, St. Louis used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Cincinnati used 3 as well. St. Louis is the better bullpen, but not by much. They are, I don't even know where they're ranked here. 21st, Cincinnati 25th. St. Louis is the better offense, I would say, but Cincinnati's actually ahead. Well, maybe not. Cincinnati 24th, St. Louis 25th. Both offenses suck, but the pitching in this game is not exactly elite, obviously. As far as St. Louis is concerned, there could be a letdown spot involved here because they just beat the Cubs over the weekend. So that was a big series win for St. Louis. Could be a letdown. They're traveling in from Chicago. Not really that much of a reason to focus on the Reds specifically, although St. Louis is still trying to make the playoffs, believe it or not. And Cincinnati is not going to make it, but Cincinnati is coming off some losses against the Marlins, staying at home. Situation favors Cincinnati in this first game, I would say. They could at least try to bounce back, play spoiler here, but I'm not going to play Cincinnati when we don't even know who's starting for them. Quinn Matthews is young. He's only made 1 start in his career. I think it was against Toronto, so it was an easy offense to have to go up against. He did all right. He went 5 innings, 2 earned runs allowed. The walks were a problem, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. No idea what you're going to get out of him here. I think he's probably going to be better than a Cincinnati bullpen game, but the money is coming in on Cincinnati. 73% of tickets on St. Louis, 77% of the cash on Cincinnati. St. Louis is a slight favorite in this game. Again, I think St. Louis has the better starting pitcher here, probably. I think Matthews does have some talent, but Cincinnati's in the better spot, but you just can't do it, right? Because you have no idea what the pitching matchup is going to look like. Could be too much of a disadvantage. A lot of ticket percent, like a high ticket percentage on the under makes no sense to me. The total's at 9. The over might make some sense in this game. The pitching is probably not going to be that good throughout this game, but to counter that, the offenses are also not that good. Then game 2 in this doubleheader at night is going to be an actual, well, sort of actual starting pitching matchup. St. Louis has an actual starter, at least, with Andre Payante pitching in game 2. 3.46 ERA, 1.22 whip. He's okay. He's got a 2.55 road ERA, so he's actually better on the road, which is kind of weird to me because St. Louis has a pitcher-friendly ballpark. He's pitched okay recently. He's allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in 5 starts in a row. Problem is he's walking a lot of guys, so it's a little bit misleading. He's not really that good. His hit rate is okay. Like, he doesn't allow that many hits. His walk rate is kind of it's like the one issue that he has, but it's that combined with the strikeouts. Like, the strikeout rate is really low, so the advanced analytics guys don't exactly like this guy. Strikeout per 9 is going to be, low, as is the strikeout walk ratio. Payante against the Reds, though, has been good. 136 at-bats, 184 average allowed, 510 OPS, so he might be able to pitch well here against Cincinnati. And Cincinnati's going with Rhett Lauder, who I really don't think is good. I think Payante is the better of the 2 pitchers here. So St. Louis, I think, does have the better starting pitching setup in both games. Lauder, 5.15 ERA, 1.48 whip, not good, although he is better at home significantly. He has a 3.06 ERA at home, which again seems weird because Cincinnati's a hitter-friendly park, but both pitchers are in their better home road splits here in this one. Lauder has been serviceable, allowing 2 runs exactly in 4 starts in a row, including one against St. Louis. So he hasn't been that bad recently, but he's still very hittable. Hit rate is too high. His walk rate is also too high. Strikeout rate is also low. So his strikeout walk ratio is really miserable. Not a lot to like here, except he is actually good against St. Louis in 27 at-bats, 111 average allowed, 398 OPS. I don't want to do it, and it sounds crazy, but I think in this game 2, I think the first 5 under might actually be the way to do this. St. Louis is getting the money as well, 78% of tickets, 88% of the cash on them. They're in the minus 120 range. I could see the reasoning behind it. The letdown spot, if it happens in game 1, maybe they'll refocus in game 2. Payante, I would prefer over Lauder. You could look at like St. Louis first 5 maybe in this one or something. But I don't like either bullpen, obviously. And after the bullpens pitch in game 1, I think you really want to avoid the bullpens here. But like I said, Payante and Lauder, home road splits favor both of them in this game 2 here. And they both have good matchup numbers, so first 5 under, I actually think is maybe worth considering in this one. Total's at 9, so it is a high total in both of these games. Odds makers not really in love with these pitchers, obviously, and why would you be? 87% of tickets, 94% of the cash on the over, but it does seem like the over is kind of a public side. And while I do usually like overs in game 2 generally because the bullpens might be used up, the starting pitching matchup in that one does look more under-conducive to me. And as I said, you have weak offenses there, so it could actually happen. Like, the weak offenses, that's going to help weak pitching pitch a little bit better usually. Baltimore and Tampa Bay, this is a wraparound series. Tampa Bay trying to avoid a 4-game sweep here, even though they still have a big lead in the division here. This is kind of ridiculous. Tampa Bay, very good home team. They're going to lose every game at home. Is that really what's going to happen? I really don't think they're going to lose this game. I do not. Baltimore is trying, so I guess give them credit for that, even though they sold off at the trade deadline. This page won't load, so that's awesome. I just want to show the bullpen stuff, man. Tampa Bay is ranked 3rd in bullpen, but their ERA is kind of high, so I don't really think their bullpen is that good. Baltimore's ERA is actually the same, although they're 13th based on whip. Maybe Tampa has a slight bullpen edge, but I don't think it's much. Tampa Bay is 6th offensively. The Orioles are 16th, so Tampa has a little bit of an advantage there as well. Baltimore used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. There it is. Tampa Bay used 3 as well. Kind of sort of a bullpen game-ish for them yesterday. Just because the game was out of hand, they just brought in some long relief men, I would say, to kind of eat up innings. Brandon Young is getting the start for Baltimore here. He's been decent, 3.33 ERA, 1.32 whip is not that good, though. Does indicate his ERA should be higher than it is. Home road splits are very insignificant. He's slightly better on the road in some ways. He's having some walk issues recently, though. He's not allowing a lot of runs. He's allowed 4 or fewer in every start, I think on the entire season, actually. So he's a guy that'll go in there and not kill you. And Baltimore's won a lot of his games. They've won 6 of his last 7. He's got an okay hit rate. His walk rate is kind of the main issue with him. He walks somewhat too many guys, and he also doesn't really strike that many guys out. So strikeout-walk ratio doesn't really look that good there. Young against Tampa, very small sample size, 6 at-bats. Only Fortes and Hicks have ever faced him, but they've hit him a little bit. They have a 333 average and 929 OPS against him, 1-1 strikeout-walk ratio. And Tampa is getting Shane McClanahan back, so that is going to help Tampa in the stretch run, obviously, because he's one of their legitimate starters. He's coming off the injured list. I think he basically spent the minimum amount of time on it. He only missed, I think the minimum 2 weeks or something like that. He had a back issue, so at least it wasn't an arm issue. He's coming back. I think that's good, obviously, for them. And you know me, I like veteran pitchers coming back off the DL or whatever because I think they're going to be pumped to get back out there. Tampa might rally around him like, yes, okay, let's go. We're getting one of our better starting pitchers back. So I think it's a positive. They're not going to put him out there if they don't think he's ready to go. I didn't look at what he did in his rehab, but like I said, veteran pitcher, you know what he's done throughout his career. He's been good. I would lean towards him pitching well in this one. He's got a 3.09 ERA, 1.12 whip. He's been really good at home. 1.94 ERA at home, and also below a 200 batting average allowed at home. He was, I guess, starting to struggle maybe a little bit going into his injury here, but not really that much. Tampa had still won 4 of his last 5 starts. And he'll be going up against Baltimore here, and he does have good numbers against Baltimore. 212 average allowed, 590 OPS, 33 at-bats there, 8-2 strikeout-walk ratio. I like Tampa in this one, man. Again, they're a good home team. Home team's trying to avoid the sweep. Usually you want to look that way. Problem is, I don't know if I love the price, though, but I think McClanahan has the upper hand over Young. You might give Tampa the slight bullpen edge. If you wanted to go first 5 innings in this one and just focus on the starting pitching, you could do that too. I think I might go full game on it, though, because I think Tampa might have a slight bullpen edge here. Plus, they're trying to win the game, I would imagine. Like, this is the sweep-avoiding spot. You know, a 4-game sweep on the horizon here, potentially at home. You don't want that to happen, even though Baltimore has shown up for the series. Minus 158 is about the price on Tampa Bay, but it's moved in the Baltimore direction, down from minus 160-something, and the money is coming in on Baltimore. 64% of tickets on Tampa, 79% of the cash on Baltimore, so the money heavily indicating on Baltimore, and on the under 7.5. The under makes some sense because you have decent pitching here, at least I would say, so I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that, but I still like Tampa in this one. Situation plus better starting pitcher. That's what I think you get. You got to make a minus 1 run line out of it, though, and they're the home team, and it's expected to be low scoring, so it makes it a little bit more difficult for them to do that and actually win by multiple runs. But at least if you do it and they win by 1, you'll not lose any money. So I think that is what I would do. I would make a minus 1 run line or find a minus 1 run line somewhere on Tampa Bay. Miami and Philadelphia. Philadelphia just swept the Twins, and now they're returning home from that. So they're actually returning home from a road trip because they were in St. Louis, then in Iowa in the Field of Dreams game, then in Minnesota. So technically, yes, it is a return home spot. They've been away for about a week. So, you know, I talk about how that's a distracted spot typically. You got to get back to home life. You got stuff to do, and they might not totally pay attention to the Marlins who are behind them. Although the Marlins, they're playing some good baseball again recently. They've won a lot of their games recently. They've won, whatever this is, 6 of their last 8. They just beat the Reds, which is not really that impressive, but still a winning series for them over the weekend. They're traveling in from Cincinnati here. Spot sets up better for Miami. So, situation, yeah, does favor Miami here. Starting pitching matchup definitely does not, though. Miami did use 3 relief pitchers yesterday. They have the better bullpen over Philadelphia. Philadelphia used 4. Miami is ranked 6th in bullpen. Again, I don't think they're quite that good, but they are better than Philly, who is ranked 18th. I think maybe Philly is actually a little bit worse than that ranking. So both bullpens might actually be worse than where they're ranked in whip. Miami's 10th offensively. They are the better offense. Philly's struggled. They're 20th, although they are better at home. And Philly's going up against Jansen Junk, who is not that good. 4.41 ERA, 1.32 whip. Mediocre, but he's also not good on the road. 5.35 road ERA. So that's a problem here. He's not as good on the road. He's not allowing many runs in his last few outings here, but he's not striking anybody out, really, over his last couple. I don't think I would trust it that much, although it was impressive that he just went 6 innings allowing 1 run against Pittsburgh, although it was at home. He allows too many hits. His walk rate isn't too bad, though. His strikeout rate is kind of low as well. So he's just too hittable for the most part. Doesn't strike a lot of guys out, but he doesn't exactly walk a ton either. But that's what he does. He pitches to contact, which advanced analytics guys obviously will tell you that's dangerous pitching. He is good against Philly, though, in 34 at-bats, 10 strikeouts, no walks, 206 average, 529 OPS. I don't like that he's not good on the road, but he does have good matchup numbers here. He might actually do okay here. Christopher Sanchez is getting the start for Philly. I pointed out yesterday because I tweeted out there's a graphic of the top 10 expected ERAs in baseball based on Baseball Savant, like whatever the hell they use. They determine an expected ERA based on how the pitcher is actually pitching. Sanchez was not even in the top 10, which kind of surprised me. Which kind of means he's like putting too many men on base for Baseball Savant to have him with like a lower expected ERA. So that means his expected ERA is actually above 3 somewhere, which was interesting. So most of the usual suspects are on that list, and 2 of Philly's 3 starters, big 3 were there, but Sanchez was not. You'd expect it would be Wheeler Sanchez, but it was actually Wheeler and Luzardo who actually made it. So that is something of note. And like I said, all the usual guys are there. Miz, Chase Burns was on it, Schlittler, Cease. I forget who else made it, but Skeens did not make it. His real ERA is also higher than that top 10. So, yeah, Skeens not having a good season. Anyway, I'm rambling. Sanchez has a 2.54 ERA, 1.19 whip. Good season from him. He's been really good at home. 1.41 ERA at home. Pitching well over the past, a whole bunch of starts here, really. He had a bad start in there prior to the All-Star break, but he was bad in the All-Star game, but he's been pretty good since then. His hit rate is actually a little bit too high, although it's still below 1 per inning, but it's a lot higher than you would think from him. So I think he's kind of changed the way that he pitches because he used to be a little bit walk-heavy. He doesn't walk that many guys anymore, and he strikes out a ton of guys. But he is a little bit too hittable now. Still, he has a really good strikeout walk ratio and a high strikeouts per 9, actually the highest that he's had in his career in both of those stats. Sanchez against Miami, 53 at-bats. They have not hit him well. 170 average, 408 OPS, 13-2 strikeout walk ratio. You can't lay the price with Philadelphia, plus they're not in a good spot, so I would obviously not recommend that. The money's coming in against them. They're in the minus 250 range almost here. The line actually went up, but the money looks like it is fading them. 85% of tickets, 76% of the cash on them. Total is 8. The money is coming in on the over, but I actually think the first 5 under might be the way to play this. As I just showed you, Junk and Sanchez both have good matchup numbers here. Junk is at least pitching okay recently, so the recent form looks okay to me in this one. I think that's what I would do. Even though you have 54% of tickets on the under, 78% of the cash on the over, that's full game. I would avoid the bullpens. I don't like Phillies, obviously. But yeah, I think the starting pitching might actually keep this game a little bit lower scoring, so I think that's what I would do in this one. The matchup numbers seem to kind of support that. And obviously I don't like the situation for Philly, but Sanchez is the better starting pitcher, so it's tough to really kind of figure out the side in that one. Detroit and Pittsburgh on ESPN. Pittsburgh coming off a series win against the Red Sox. Of course, they got to go up against Sandoval yesterday, so what did you expect? And I was correct about that game being an over, even though there was a rain delay in it where only one more run scored after the rain delay, but the game still went over. Detroit is starting a road trip here off of getting swept by the White Sox. Really, really crazy. Detroit, I expected them to do a lot better in that series, and they lost the one game we played them, too, by 1. Bad series for Detroit, but starting a road trip here. Detroit's still trying to make the playoffs. I think, you could argue it's a hangover spot for Detroit because that was a big series and they fell short. But starting a road trip might help them, right? Like just get out of home when things aren't going well, even though Detroit is a better home team. I think the spot sets up better for Detroit because I think they have more motivation because they're trying to make the playoffs. Pittsburgh is really kind of dead at this point. Pittsburgh's coming off the winning series. Detroit coming off an ugly losing series. So that has me kind of looking towards Detroit a little bit. And I think Detroit does have some advantages in this one, like the better bullpen. Pittsburgh used 5 guys out of the bullpen yesterday, partially because of the rain delay. Detroit only used 3 in their game. Detroit is the better bullpen. They're ranked 14th, Pittsburgh 23rd. So Detroit has a bullpen edge in this game, both in quality and rest. Pittsburgh is the better offense. They're number 4. Detroit, number 11, tied with Milwaukee. Detroit's still a capable offense, though. And Pittsburgh, though, good offense at home. Framber Valdez is getting the start for Detroit. How much do we trust Valdez, man? I don't know. He's pretty unpredictable. He's a roller coaster. He's got mediocre numbers here. 4.26 ERA, 1.39 whip is definitely not that good. He is worse on the road. His ERA is almost the same, but his opponent batting average is definitely higher on the road at 270. He's walking too many guys recently, even though he's pitching okay for the most part recently. Not allowing that many runs, but the walk rate is kind of a problem here. That's his main issue, but this year it's been a little bit worse, although he's also too hittable this year, so too many hits and too many walks, and his strikeout rate is actually kind of down too. So this has not been a good year for him. Strikeout walk ratio not that good. One of the worst that he's posted. Strikeout per 9 also the lowest that he's posted. So he's having an off season in his first season with Detroit. Going up against Pittsburgh here, a good offense, but I think he does actually have good numbers against them. Yeah, he does. In 30 at-bats, 233 average, allowed 581 OPS, 8-2 strikeout walk ratio. So Valdez actually does pitch well against Detroit. Against Pittsburgh for Detroit. Carmen Mlodzinski is pitching for Pittsburgh, so it's going to be a pseudo bullpen game for Pittsburgh, which doesn't look great to me when they used 5 relief pitchers yesterday, and their bullpen's not that good. If you're going to play this game, you might want to pick Valdez must start, but don't pick a starter for Pittsburgh because we don't know if it's actually going to be Mlodzinski or if he's going to come in behind somebody else. It probably will be him, though. He's got a 3.76 ERA, but a 1.4 whip is not that good. His ERA is worse at home, 3.94, although his opponent batting average is actually a little bit better, but I don't trust him, man. He'll probably get you 2 to 3 innings here because that's pretty much what he's done typically. His last couple outings have been pretty bad, though. He's given up 9 runs over the last 5 1/3 innings against the Mets and Marlins. That's not good. Not really a good strikeout walk ratio in there recently either. His numbers don't look good on the season, really, even when he was coming out of the bullpen and whatever, and he was making some starts as well. High hit rate, high walk rate, not a great strikeout rate. None of these numbers are good. The strikeout walk ratio, not good. Strikeouts per 9, actually the worst that he's had in his career. Up against Detroit, he has done well against Detroit for the most part. 11 at-bats, 182 average, allowed 705 OPS, 3-1 strikeout walk ratio. I still think I lean Detroit here, though, and the money seems like it agrees with that. 55% of tickets, 94% of the cash on them. I think the spot is actually a little bit better for them. They're basically around a pick-em price here. They initially dropped from -121, but it looks like the actual money is coming in on them. And the money is also coming in on the over 8 in this one. Yeah, I don't know. I think Detroit might be the better way to lean. I mean, given the matchup numbers, it does kind of look like possibly a first 5 under as well, but I don't think I would want to do that. I think just taking the more legitimate starter in Valdez in the better spot, and he does at least have better matchup numbers in this particular case as well, over Mlodzinski. I think that might be the way to go, but can you really trust Valdez? I don't know. All right, my one play is going to be the next one. And you know me, I'm complaining about this, but we're gonna fade this shitty ass Red Sox team here. We'll take an underdog here on Arizona plus 131. The reason I'm gonna go full game on this is because it's a Red Sox bullpen game for the whole thing, and the Red Sox bullpen is already injured, so this is bad. This is real bad for the Red Sox. They're also returning home from a road trip, so it's a negative spot on top of that. Coming from Toronto and Pittsburgh, not exactly the worst road trip to. It's not exactly the worst, travel spot necessarily, but it's still a spot where they've been away for a week. They're coming back home. And if you forgot already, the Red Sox are not good at home. They're below 500 at home. Arizona is also below 500 on the road, but the Red Sox are not a good home team. They're playing bad baseball right now. They're still hyped because they had that really hot run. So people are going to think, oh, now that they're back at home, they're going to start winning again. Well, no, because their hot run, most of those were road games, and they came back home and they started failing after they were hot against the White Sox. Red Sox started losing at home, so that this is where the whole thing started. They started playing bad baseball when they were back at home. Not a good spot. I think it's going to be a distracted spot for them here. Both teams are trying to make the playoffs at this point. Arizona is coming in from Atlanta, so they're at least already on the East Coast. Yes, it was a tough series against Atlanta, but they're not going to overlook Boston here. And Arizona has an actual starter on the mound, at least. Now, bullpen-wise, we're only going to fade the Red Sox bullpen, even though the Red Sox are the top bullpen in baseball. They're number 1, but it's a little bit iffy. Dbacks are not horrible. They're 5th. But the thing about it is the Red Sox, so Arizona used 3 relief pitchers yesterday, whatever. Their bullpen is fairly clean right now. Red Sox have a ton of issues here in the bullpen right now. Whitlock is hurt. Slayton just went on the DL as well. So they have an injured bullpen here right now, even though, yes, this is still a pretty solid bullpen. But they're going with Gamboa to start this game, and he's a bullpen arm. So this is going to be a bullpen game. Now, I do realize that means Brian Bayo is probably pitching in this game. I do realize that. So it's going to be Gamboa and then Bayo. And Bayo has been very, very good as a relief pitcher. I realize that. But I still think this is just ass, dude. Now, if you wanted to take Arizona in the first 5, you could do that because it's going to be them going up against Gamboa. But I think it's about the spot. It's about the combination of everything. And we're actually going to back Mitch Bratt here, which seems a little bit iffy. I know he's a young left-hander here, 3.74 ERA here in his rookie season, which is pretty good, but 1.4 whip is not good, obviously. And he's not good on the road, 2.53 road ERA. Or, 2.53 would be good. 5.63, excuse me. Yeah, so he's not good on the road. However, he's pitching well recently. Last 3 starts, he's gone deeper into these outings. He's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs over the last 3 starts. Granted, 2 of them were against bad offenses, and the other one was at home against Colorado. But his strikeout rate has gone up a little bit. His walk rate's gone down a little bit. So I think there might be something here, even though overall he still does have a bad strikeout walk ratio. His strikeout rate is still a little bit lower than you'd like. His walk rate is definitely still too high. There's no doubt about that. Doesn't allow that many hits. But I think he's improving, and the Red Sox have never seen him before. So I think we can take the shot with him here, as he might have a little bit of an unfamiliarity edge here against the Red Sox. And the Red Sox are going with Gamboa, like I said, who's a guy that they called up. He's 29. He's never pitched in the majors before this year. So to me, that's not a great sign, although he does have an okay strikeout walk ratio here. He's not really that good of a strikeout pitcher, though, it looks like so far. And he's been okay, just allowing not that many hits. He doesn't really walk that many guys, so at least there is that. He's got a 1.12 ERA, 1.59 whip, but I don't trust him. Arizona will have never seen him before, but yeah, I think Arizona has the edge here in the situation and in the pitching matchup here, which I think will kind of cascade into the bullpens. And yes, I do realize that, like I said, Bayo might come into this game somewhere around like the third inning, and he's been very, very good as a relief pitcher. Although I still don't think he's that good of a pitcher, so I don't know, man. Again, if you want to take the first 5, you could do that, and that might be, you know what? Should we do it first 5? I don't know, man. I'll keep it full game, but yeah, that'll be the play, Arizona. I don't like the board today, dude. I do not. I think we're fading the public, at least, although it does look like some of the money is coming in on the Red Sox. 74% of tickets, 94% of the cash on them, but they did drop from minus 160 all the way into the minus 140 range, though. So the actual money, to me, looks like it is coming in towards Arizona here. Totals at 9. I would also not disagree with an over in this one. I mean, this looks like bad pitching in this game, dude. So the over makes some sense to me as well. But, yeah, I think we're going to take Arizona here. And Arizona, they have been hot offensively, by the way. I didn't look at the offenses. The Red Sox rank a little bit better right now. Believe it or not, they're 14th, tied with the A's. But Arizona's 18th. And Arizona's been hot offensively. So that's that game. San Diego and the Mets. On the surface, I was like, yeah, this looks like it's going to be a play on the Mets. I don't really want to do it, but the Mets look like they have a starting pitching advantage in this one. Mets are coming off a sweep of the Nationals, though, so it could be maybe a little bit of a letdown for the Mets here, off a nice divisional sweep, staying at home, but they might still not overlook San Diego because they get a chance to try to play spoiler against a team that's trying to make the playoffs in San Diego, who is 1 game ahead of Arizona right now. San Diego just beat Cleveland over the weekend, and now they're coming in to New York from Cleveland. We have 2 pretty good bullpens here. The Mets used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. San Diego used 3 as well. San Diego, I think, is the better bullpen, although they rank actually lower at 9th. The Mets are 7th, but I think San Diego is the better bullpen. Neither offense is particularly good. The Mets are 26th, San Diego 22nd. Some improvement out of both of them recently, though. Walker Buehler is getting the start for San Diego here. Not that good, obviously. 4.88 ERA, 1.43 whip. I think his Tommy John surgery and whatever. RIP, by the way. The Tommy John died the other day. The namesake of that surgery, because obviously he was a pitcher who had that surgery. He was actually a good pitcher. Buehler, yeah, his number's not good. 4.88 ERA, 1.43 whip. Like I said, he's not been the same since his surgery years ago. He's been bad on the road this year, 5.47 road ERA. He's a lot better in San Diego's home ballpark, although still not really great there. San Diego's winning his starts, though, believe it or not. They've won 6 starts in a row of his, and he's actually pitching okay recently, not allowing that many runs at least, so his form is not the worst, at least right now. Although his hit rate is still too high. He still walks too many guys. His strikeout rate is pretty mediocre, so these numbers are not really that good. Strikeout walk ratio is pretty low, although it's a little bit better than it has been the last couple seasons. It's still not good. Strikeout per 9 rate has actually gone up from where it was over the last couple seasons, so he is a little bit better this year than he has been in the recent seasons. I was expecting his numbers to not be good, actually, against the Mets, but I was wrong. His numbers are good here. 38 at-bats, 211 average, 628 OPS allowed, 11-4, strikeout walk ratio. So Buehler is actually good against the Mets. The Mets are going with Nolan McClain, who I think is definitely a solid pitcher. But this is his rookie season, so you do have to worry about his innings pitch count. It's getting up there, man. It's in the 130s, I think. I start really worrying when it gets around 150 for a pitcher that isn't used to throwing that many innings. They can start to tire out, so you do have to worry about that with McClain here. But he is pitching well. He's had a good season. 3.42 ERA, 1.13 whip. He's not as good at home, though, interestingly. 4.19 home ERA, so he's in the worst of his home road splits, but he is still pitching well. For the most part. His walks are kind of a little bit of a question here recently, but he's not allowing many runs at all. 2 or fewer on runs allowed in all but 1 start, going all the way back into late June here. He's got a low hit rate. He's very hard to hit. His walk rate, like I said, is a little bit high. Strikes out a lot of guys too, though, so his strikeout walk ratio is not too bad. Strikeout rate is definitely good. If he would fix his walk problem a bit, he would actually be really good. McClain against San Diego, I believe, is good. Yep, 17 at bats, not a big sample, but he's held him to a 176 average, 476 OPS, 5.3 strikeout walk ratio is not great, but the rest of those numbers are good. So I think McClain, he still might be good to go here, man. I don't disagree with the Mets side here. I think McClain has the upper hand. They dropped from minus 130 down to minus 115 or so. And you know the public's going to look at this and think, why are the Mets favored, basically, right? Although they will see they have the better pitcher on the mound. But the public is not going to really want the Mets as a favorite, you know? Like, they're going to want the San Diego team that's trying to make the playoffs here as an underdog, right? Like, that looks pretty tempting. 57% of tickets on San Diego, but the real money looks like it is on the Mets. 93% of the cash. The money also coming in the over, which I would not agree with. I would lean under in this game. I mean, you just saw both starting pitchers do seem to have a matchup advantage here against the hitters. The offenses are not that good. Neither pitcher is in the better of their home road splits, though, so that does worry me a little bit. I think the better lean is probably the Mets, just simplifying it to McClain is better than Buehler. First 5, Mets makes sense, although you have to pay a little bit more for it, most likely. But that's the biggest advantage the Mets have is the starting pitching. So first 5, Mets might actually be the best approach in that game. All right, A's, Kansas City. This looks like it's going to be an over series, man, because you got 2 bad bullpens here. This is in Kansas City, although they did move the walls in Kansas City. Kansas City is returning home from the West Coast. They went to the Dodgers and Anaheim. They got swept by the Dodgers, and they were able to win the series against Anaheim. But not a good spot for Kansas City, right? Returning home, going across multiple time zones here, playing a bad A's team. Could be a distracted spot here for Kansas City. These are 2 bad teams here, man. Just playing out the stretch, but definitely a negative spot for Kansas City in the return home spot. Kansas City looks like they didn't use any relief pitchers yesterday, which is interesting. The A's used 4. Neither bullpen is good, though. I would not trust either one. They're ranked 29th and 30th. A's 29, Kansas City 30, but the A's have the worst ERA, so I think it actually is flipped from that. I think you do have the 2 worst bullpens here, but I think the A's are the worst. The A's are ranked 14th offensively. Kansas City is 23rd, so the A's have been the better offense of the 2. Dealing with injuries right now, though. A's going with Mason Barnett in this game. He's a young pitcher. He has not been very good, though. 6.16 ERA, 1.45 whip. He's not that much better on the road. His home road splits are pretty insignificant, actually. He's not pitching well right now. He's allowing a bunch of home runs here. He's walking a lot of guys. He's given up some hits. Not great. His hit rate overall isn't too bad, though. His walk rate is definitely a problem. His strikeout rate is actually okay. So really the walks are the worst number that he has here, and it's making his strikeout walk ratio bad. His strikeout per 9 is actually okay. But yeah, the walks are a huge issue with him. Kansas City has not done well against him. In 8 at-bats, 125 average, 347 OPS allowed. It's a small sample, though. Only 4 of their hitters have seen him, but maybe Barnett could actually pitch okay here, but he's going up against the much better pitcher, who is the pitcher who's obviously way more established, Michael Wacha, pitching for the Royals. He's been their steadiest starter, 3.4. I think Noah Cameron, by the way, was the one who pitched yesterday. Maybe he went the complete game. I have no idea. Wacha, 3.46 ERA, 1.15 whip, pretty good. He's been better at home, too. 2.91 home ERA. Not a ton to dislike about Wacha. He's allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in every start going all the way back to the All-Star break. So he's been good. He's not allowing that many hits. He doesn't really walk that many guys. Doesn't strike out many guys either, though. So that's kind of the knock on him. Although his strikeout walk ratio is still not too bad. It's close to that 3 that I consider to be kind of average. Doesn't strike out a lot of guys, like I said. Numbers against the A's, though, are actually kind of bad. A 318 average, allowed 807 OPS and 44 at-bats. 7-4 strikeout walk ratios. This is not one of the better matchups for him. So I would actually somewhat lean to the A's in the first 5 here, even though it sounds insane. I would not factor in their bullpen into that, obviously. But the Royals are a huge favorite. They're like minus 180 something. They dropped from almost minus 200. I get it. Wacha is obviously better than Barnett generally, but the matchup numbers actually kind of support Barnett in that matchup. Plus, like I said, it's a return home spot for Kansas City. So I don't think it's a good spot for Kansas City. For the A's, by the way, they're coming in, starting a road trip, and going east is easier for teams, as I always say. So it's not a bad spot for the A's here. Really, I think it might be a focus spot for them. So I think you could take the A's as a pretty big underdog in the first 5 on the run line, even perhaps like a half run. I think that might be one way to look at this game. 70% of tickets, 56% of the cash on Kansas City. So the money is agreeing with the A's here. First 5 on the half a run line or whatever looks like an okay look here, but the over makes sense as well. You got 50% of the tickets, 93% of the cash on the over. Wacha drew some bad matchup numbers here. Both bullpens are terrible. Barnett's not a good pitcher either. So I do think there are a decent amount of indicators towards an over there. And it is a somewhat more hitter-friendly ballpark there as well. So over might make some sense there. Perhaps I might even prefer the over to backing Barnett. Backing Barnett, like Barnett's still the worst pitcher versus Wacha, you know what I mean? So I don't really necessarily want to come in and back the worst pitcher, even if the matchup numbers, they have the situation support it. There's really a big gap between the level of those two pitchers, you know? So I think the over might be the better way to actually just look at that game. All right. I'll be right back. There's not a whole lot to talk about. 3 more games and WNBA. Yep. Inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight, it was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What can this slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm gonna burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. Yeah, like I said, I hate this board today, but let's finish it off. Atlanta, Minnesota. I mean, Atlanta definitely the better team here, but I think there might be some indicators that maybe Minnesota might be worth taking a look at here. Minnesota did just get swept by the Phillies in the Field of Dreams game and then at home for the rest of the series. They're staying at home, coming off a sweep. They're still delusional and trying to make the playoffs, I think. So Minnesota will have some motivation here. Atlanta just got a win against the Diamondbacks yesterday. They are starting a road trip after they lost the series to the Diamondbacks, though. Starting a road trip, not a horrible spot. Like, usually you are focused, but I think you might get a little bit more motivation out of Minnesota here because they're in desperation here. Atlanta is not. So, starting pitching does look like it favors Atlanta, but on the surface, but I actually don't think it does. Atlanta definitely has a better bullpen, so there's no question about that. They used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Minnesota used 4. Minnesota, not a good bullpen. They're 28th. Atlanta is one of the better ones. They're ranked 2nd, although I think they're probably 3rd best bullpen behind the Red Sox and the Yankees. Hitting-wise, Atlanta is 8th. Minnesota, not that far behind at 13th. So both pretty capable offenses. There are a lot of high-scoring games that Minnesota tends to play at home. Martin Perez is pitching for Atlanta. Got to give him credit. I mean, he's had a good season, man. As an older dude, guy who doesn't really strike a lot of guys out, but he's got a 2.96 ERA, 1.15 whip. Not putting a lot of guys on base, man. The advanced analytics guys still don't like him because he doesn't strike guys out, but I say, well, the whip is pretty good, so he's not putting himself in trouble. However, he is not as good on the road. 4.3 road ERA with a much higher opponent batting average on the road at 253. He's pitching well recently, though. He hasn't allowed a run this month, and Atlanta's won all 3 of his outings this month. But not a lot of strikeouts here. So, there are some things to not like, but he's not allowing many hits at all, which is crazy. He's been very hard to hit for whatever reason. He's fooling guys with the junk that he goes out there and he throws, but he doesn't strike out a lot of guys. His walk rate is actually not that great. So the reason why he's keeping batters off the base pass is because they're not hitting him at all, which is kind of insane. His strikeout walk ratio is actually pretty bad. It's below 2. So his walk rate actually isn't really that great. Strikeout rate is down as well. It's not a great rate there, but he's never been a strikeout pitcher. But I think where the clincher kind of is here is that he's not good against Minnesota. Not really. They have a 250 average, 881 OPS against him, 5 strikeouts and 8 walks in 28 at-bats, although 13 of them are Buxton. But, yeah, Perez doesn't really do well against Minnesota. Minnesota's going with Bailey Ober, who is not the better of the 2 pitchers. He's been okay, though. 4.64 ERA, 1.23 whip, and he's better at home, 3.2 ERA at home with a 208 opponent batting average. So the home road splits are against Perez and favor Ober here. Ober wasn't great in his last outing because he gave up a bunch of home runs to Baltimore, but he was on a decent run leading up to that, although he didn't strike out anybody in the previous outing. There are some things to maybe not love here about Ober, mostly that he just doesn't strike anybody out. His hit rate is okay. His walk rate isn't really that bad. The strikeouts are a problem. He doesn't strike anybody out. But because he walks relatively few people, his strikeout walk ratio is actually still not that bad, although it's worse this year than it ever has been before, which isn't really that great, I guess. His strikeout per 9 is actually a lot lower than it has been in the past. Like, I used to think he was decent. He posted some pretty nice strikeout numbers before, but not so much this year. So it looks like his stuff maybe is dissipated a little bit. But he is actually pretty good against Atlanta, although they only have 6 hitters who have faced him. 20 at-bats, 200 average, 688 OPS. Decent numbers there. I would take Minnesota in the first 5 in this one, man. Not having to travel could be a bounce-back spot for them. The money seems to strongly agree with this. Atlanta dropped from -130 down to about -120 here. 82% of the tickets on them. 69% of the cash on Minnesota. Minnesota obviously does not have the better bullpen, but the home road splits and the matchup numbers both favor Ober here. So I would look at Minnesota first 5 in that one. Mr. Pinsey, no, absolutely not. I just told you why you should not do that. Perez is a mirage, dude. Like, the advanced analytics guys don't really like either of these pitchers, but they will tell you that Perez is going to hit a bunch of regression. But no, I would take Minnesota in the first 5 in that game. And that, I think, is one of the stronger opinions that I have on the day. And I don't like the board at all, though. Like, I almost feel like I'm forcing the Diamondbacks play here. We have the Chicago series here. The Cubs are staying at home off of losing to the Cardinals, so it could be a bounce-back spot for the Cubs here. The White Sox are coming in from a huge series sweep over Detroit. So that's, it could be a letdown spot for the White Sox here, although they're not going to overlook the Cubs, you wouldn't think, because the Cubs have been the better of the Chicago teams for years now. So the White Sox usually are going to get up for a series against the Cubs, so that might mitigate the letdown spot. But there was a huge sweep for them over Detroit over the weekend because Detroit was coming up right behind them and kind of threatening them. Where are they pulling that info from? I mean, those are, it's from all the books that are listed on this website. It's through some API. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it includes all these books that are on this website. I liked the books that Pregame had on them better, but their shit is never going to be fixed. So Pregame can get fucked. But, I mean, I see the way that these games play out. Like, I'm fairly sure these numbers are like a decent indicator of, it seems like these numbers a lot of times agree with my handicapping. So I think these numbers are pretty decent for a market read here. I'm going by my own handicapping here. It's not just the numbers. Like, I would still agree with Minnesota first 5, even if the market disagreed with me. It's just that the market seems to have strong agreement with that one. So I think that makes that play stronger. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's a check on it to see if you're agreeing with where most of the professionals are at. But yeah, there's no way that I would play Atlanta in that game. All right. Let me see. What was I talking about? I mean, if Atlanta's going to win, they're going to do it with their bullpen later in the game. And yeah, that's why I said Minnesota first 5. But when I lean to a particular side in the first 5, I'm not going to lean to the other side for the full game either, because that theoretic. I mean, if you're right, then the other team has to come back. So Cubs used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. White Sox used 3. Please don't remind me of that. Do not remind me of that. Let me see. What was I talking about? The Cubs are 10th in bullpen. White Sox are 15th. These are both decent bullpens. They're both decent offenses as well. The Cubs are a good offense. They're ranked 3rd. The White Sox are ranked 8th, tied with Atlanta. Luis Castillo is pitching for the White Sox. They picked him up right at the trade deadline, basically. He's not had a great season, although his career has been a lot better than this. As I keep saying, 4.96 ERA, 1.35 whip this year. Wasn't doing well with Seattle, and he's also not been good on the road this year. 5.49 road ERA. Started pitching with Chicago, had a bad start against the Red Sox. Although it was a little bit misleading maybe because he had a decent strikeout, or a good strikeout walk ratio in that outing. And then he followed that up with an excellent start against Cincinnati where he went 7 innings, allowed 1 hit, no runs, 10 strikeouts, 2 walks, threw over 100 pitches though, but he's done that fairly regularly, so I'm not too worried about the pitch count here. Castillo might be in good form right now, but that might be a little bit misleading though because the Reds are not a good offense. The Cubs definitely are a good offense, so Castillo might have a little bit of regression coming in this game. And the Cubs have hit him okay, 262 average, 752 OPS, 107 at bats, so a big sample here. 34 to 7 strikeout walk ratio is a good ratio for Castillo, though. But it's possible he has a little bit of a letdown coming into this one, maybe, although he might still get up for a game against the Cubs, He's also not the better pitcher in this matchup. Shota Imanaga is pitching for the Cubs. He's good. 3.74 ERA, 1.1 whip. He's been a little bit worse at home, 3.81 home ERA, but there's a lot of variance in these Wrigley games due to the wind and whatever. Struggled on the road last time out at Washington, allowed 3 home runs in that game, and that kind of that was the story of his start, but they still won the game anyway. They've won 4 of his last 5 starts. He's generally pitched pretty well, though. He's gotten back into form. Besides that start, he allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in all of the rest of his starts, going all the way back into late June. He doesn't really walk anybody. He has a decent amount of strikeouts. Is decent and not allowing that many hits. The home run rate has been really high, though. So that's one thing to consider. Guys have just been homering off of him for whatever reason. But the rest of his numbers look good. The strikeout walk ratio is definitely solid. The strikeout per 9 is not too bad either. So I do think he's a good pitcher. I think he's getting a little bit unlucky with the home run variance here, I would say, although he definitely is a fly ball pitcher. His numbers against the White Sox, come on, man. Not good. Definitely not good. 18 at bats, small sample. 389 average, 1199 OPS, 5-1 strikeout walk ratio, good. But the rest of those numbers not good. I think the over is probably my opinion in this one. The money doesn't seem to agree. 62% of tickets, 66% of the cash on the under. The total's at 8.5, so it looks like it's not really a wind-centric game here in Wrigley because the number's just right in the middle there. So it looks like the wind is not really having a huge effect here. But neither pitcher has great matchup numbers here, man. And Imanaga did struggle in his last outing. Castillo might be in for a little bit of a letdown here. I think the over might be the best lean here. I would also probably not disagree with the Cubs because I think they have the better pitcher and they're staying at home, but I really worry about his matchup numbers though. So I don't love that, but they're in the -160 range here. They actually dropped from -173, 75% of tickets, 88% of the cash on the Cubs. So it might be a situation where there is public and professional money all coming in on the Cubs. You'd have to make like a -1 run line on that. But given Imanaga's matchup numbers, I worry about that. So I think the over might be the best approach in that one. And then we have LA Dodgers at Colorado. Colorado's returning home from a long road trip where they went to St. Louis, Arizona, San Francisco. They played pretty well for the last part of that road trip. They won the last 2 series, so Colorado's still going out there and trying. They're not like a total doormat, at least at this point, even though they're still one of the worst teams in baseball. Their record is better than the atrocious record they put up over the last couple seasons. They'll probably get up for a game against the Dodgers. Colorado's played the Dodgers very competitively this year, but it is a bad spot for Colorado. You know, the return home from a long road trip, it could be a distracted spot. You got to get back to home life, whatever. So it's not the greatest spot to back Colorado, I would say. And they also do not have a starting pitching advantage here. They may not throughout the entire series. The Dodgers did have to play yesterday. The teams that played in the late night game, by the way, are not playing today because that's another angle I look for on Monday. The night game was Houston-Seattle. I look to fade teams that were in that game in Monday if they play on Monday, but they're not. LA had a bad series over the weekend against the Brewers. The Brewers seem to have their number, man. So if this season is going to boil down to an NLCS with Milwaukee, LA, Milwaukee definitely has a chance to win that series. You know, I mean, they've been winning a lot of games in LA recently, which is crazy. I think they've won like now 7 of 8 or 8 of 9. Dodgers, took the loss again yesterday. Might be good for the Dodgers to just start a road trip, even though that was a big series for them over the weekend. They didn't play well, so maybe they'll refocus now that they're out on the road. Still, Rockies are an easy team to overlook, though, man. And if you want the Dodgers, you have to pay a huge price for it, which I am obviously not willing to do. The Dodgers are the better team in a whole bunch of ways, obviously. They're better in the bullpen by a significant amount. They're number 12 in bullpen. They're not the greatest, but they're way better than Colorado, 27th. Dodgers are number 2 offensively. I'm used to saying number 1, but they're number 2 right now behind Washington. Colorado is pretty capable offensively, though, at 5th. LA used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. I don't necessarily love the shape that their bullpen is in, and I never love the Colorado bullpen, but they also used 4 guys yesterday. LA's going with Blake Snell in this one. He's back after he only made 1 start early this season. And just like last year, he was injured for the whole season. He came back and he was good in his recent start. His numbers don't look good. 5 ERA, 1.33 whip. But after his first start, his ERA was 12, and his whip was like 3 or 2 something. So yeah, he had a really good start last time out. It was at home against Kansas City. You know, Kansas City, they're not good at hitting on the road, but really good start for Snell. He went 6 innings, allowed 1 run on 3 hits, 10 strikeouts, 1 walk. So he looks like he's ready to go, and he's getting some work now so that he's going to be ready for the playoffs and whatever. Snell, we could look at his home road splits like last year as some sort of indicator. He was worse on the road, so I will say that. 4.3 road ERA with a 298 opponent batting average last year. So he was not good on the road, so something to keep in mind here. However, Snell does still dominate Colorado typically in 34 at-bats, 20 strikeouts. That's a huge strikeout rate. 4 walks, 118 average allowed, 446 OPS. Really good numbers against Colorado. Snell, basically the way that he pitches is he strikes out a ton of guys. He's really unhittable, but he is sometimes a little bit wild. That's what you can expect from him pretty much. He is not unsuited for Coors Field, I will say. So I don't even know when the last time he pitched in Coors Field was, but he's not a fly ball pitcher. So that's one thing to keep in mind. He's more of a ground ball pitcher. Well, actually, he's a little bit balanced, I would say. Last year, he was very ground ball centric. The year before that, he was a little bit fly ball tilted, but he doesn't allow many home runs typically. So him pitching at Coors Field, I don't think matters that much. So I think Snell more than likely will be good in this game. The advanced analytics guy's biggest nemesis is pitching for Colorado, Tomoyuki Sugano. The advanced analytics guys can't figure out why he continues to pitch effectively. When the advanced analytics say that he's not good, but I say that he's mediocre because I try to not weigh one thing that heavily. I try to not just look at the stats only because it's too robotic, or at least the advanced stats. 4.43 ERA, 1.25 whip for him. That's not bad. I mean, it's not good, obviously, but I mean, yeah, it's mediocre. It's not bad. And believe it or not, he's actually been better at home. 3.93 home ERA. Even that everybody thought it was going to be a disaster with him going to Colorado because he's a fly ball pitcher and whatever, but he's not been that bad. And he's continuing to pitch fairly well here. He's allowing few runs here, 3 or fewer in every start over the past couple months. Although it's only been 5 starts, they're kind of keeping him rested a little bit. I guess they're not overworking him. So they're managing him pretty decently. And the Rockies have won a lot of his starts, dude. It's kind of crazy. They've won 8 of his last 10 starts. So they win typically when he's on the mound. Although his hit rate is a bit high. That's not good. Does still allow a fair amount of home runs here, which isn't good. More than that, he allows a lot of home runs. Yet his ERA is still not that bad. Walk rate is not bad. He doesn't really walk guys. He also doesn't strike anybody out, which is why the odds makers, why the advanced analytics guys don't like him. Strikeout walk ratio is 2.5, which is definitely helped by the fact that he doesn't walk anybody. Strikeout per 9, not good, pretty low. So again, that's why the advanced analytics guys don't like him. But he's continuing to pitch pretty successfully here. His numbers against the Dodgers, though, are not good. So I don't know if this is going to be a good game for him here. 44 at bats, 341 average, allowed 1196 OPS, 9-1 strikeout walk ratio. He's allowed 6 home runs to them, but Ohtani specifically does a ton of damage. 5 for 8 with 3 home runs. So possible player prop potential there, hits plus runs plus RBIs with Ohtani. Assuming he's going to be in the lineup, I guess you have to double check to make sure he is. I think the Dodgers probably win this game, but, I mean, that seems kind of obvious, and you have to lay a huge price for them. They're in the minus 260 range, and it's gone up from minus 250 something. I don't think there's any way that you could do that. 86% of tickets, 87% of the cash on them. You could lay the run line with them, I guess. Dodgers minus 1.5 on the run line. They'll get all 9 innings of at-bats at least. I don't really know if I see a better way to really play this, though. The money is playing the over as well. The total's 10.5 right now, which is at least lower than that key number of 11. It is a Coors Field total, but I don't think I would really want to do that with a Snell game. You could take the Dodgers over their team total. The problem with that is that you're taking one of the bigger advantages they have out of the equation, which is Snell. So I don't know if I really want to do that. But that is an option, at least, is to play the Dodgers team total over. But you'll need them to score probably 7 in this game, which seems kind of crazy. I think it's more likely that they'll be able to cover the 1.5. They can cover the 1.5 without hitting 7 runs. You know what I mean? If Snell pitches well, you could get something like a 5-2 Dodger win or something like that. You know what I mean? Although the money seems to be indicating it's going to be a higher scoring game than that. That's going to, or no, wait, we have WNBA. What am I doing? There's one WNBA game today, which I do not have a play on. I was going to skip the board entirely, but, you know, maybe my bias is coming. I might be making a bias play today, but whatever, man. It's an underdog play. If it loses, it's whatever. You have to put less money down on it to win more. So anyway, the WNBA game is a Peacock NBC Sports game, late night, 10 p.m., Dallas at Golden State. Pretty big Western Conference matchup here. Dallas, I mean, they're a very improved team, but I think they're dealing with some injuries right now. They got a good offense. They don't really have a good defense. Golden State is the better of the two teams. Golden State, definitely better defensively. Dallas has lost a bunch of games recently. They've lost 4 of their last 5 games, which is not good. They just lost a big game to Indiana. They've played a lot of decent teams recently, though, and they did lose to Golden State in Dallas by almost 20 points. If you dig into that game, it was kind of weird. I think Dallas won the free throw battle by like a ridiculous amount. And when you have that many more free throws, it's not a good sign if you lose by 20 points. But Golden State had the shooting variance. They hit like a bunch more threes in the game, which Dallas usually shoots a lot better than they did in that game. Dallas had a very off shooting night, although Golden State's a good defense, but there were outliers going both ways in that game. Like Dallas had the free throw outlier in their direction, but they had the shooting outlier going against them. So does that mean this could be like a zigzag type of spot here where maybe you do want to look to Dallas? I don't know, man. Dallas played on Friday. They played a pretty tough game against Indiana, and that was a fairly close game until late in the game. Indiana ran away with it in the fourth quarter, but it was a big game, and Dallas played it pretty close there. Now they got to go out to the Pacific Coast, and you know I don't like that. with a team going all the way out from one of the different time zones all the way out to a West Coast game at night, and they have to adjust their biological clocks. I don't really love that for Dallas. Golden State is staying at home, and they just beat Chicago. Easy win for Golden State. They might overlook Dallas, though. That's the thing, because they did just beat Dallas on the road easily, and they got Minnesota on deck. So they might have a look ahead to this Minnesota game. But an isolated game where it's the only game on and they're the home game, a lot of times the home team will show up for a game like this. So I can't figure this game out. I don't want to play it. I see factors in this game indicating on both sides here, so it's not going to be anything for me. Golden State is a little bit more rested, by the way, in addition to not having to travel. They last played at home, and they last played on Wednesday. The money is coming in on Dallas for whatever that's worth. Golden State, 65% of tickets, 65% of the cash on Dallas. Golden State's a 6-point favorite here, basically. Yeah, again, I don't really have a great read on that. What I will say is I think the side and total might be correlated in this one. The total's really low, 162, which indicates, like, that's a Golden State type of game, right? Like, they're going to try to slow you down, play defense at home. Probably not a good indicator for Dallas because Dallas wants to play faster. So I think Dallas, even though they're an underdog, I actually think it's a rare situation where the underdog and the over are actually correlated because that's the style that Dallas wants to play. And I think under and the favorite actually might be correlated there. The money is actually indicating towards the under, but towards Dallas, which those markets seem like they're in conflict with each other too. So I got nothing on this game, man. I don't even have a great lean on this game. I think my opinion probably is actually a slight lean towards Golden State for me because Dallas has kind of the bad travel spot, less rest, plus they're coming off a more difficult game. So I think I would slightly lean Golden State in that one, but I got nothing really. That's going to do it. Yeah, do not remind me of anything that happened in that game. That's going to do it. My one play today is a real ugly one. Diamondbacks on the money line. Red Sox return home spot plus Red Sox bullpen game. Red Sox seem like they're basically throwing this game to me. So, yeah, it's so fucking stupid. It's a bad spot. It's one of the worst pitching situations that you're going to get on the side of the Red Sox. Although we're backing a complete unknown, very variable starter here with Bratt, but let's do it anyway. He's looked okay recently at least, so I say we do it. The over, like I said, it might be a high-scoring game. The over makes some sense in that game, too. But it's a bad board today, dude. Like, I was going to skip it entirely, so maybe I shouldn't be forcing this one play. But that's the play. Learn to Toad. You can find me on all the things, Twitter, Instagram. Go to my link tree and you'll get all the links. Like, subscribe to the channel here, and you'll get notified when I do my football stuff, which I might do the college football preview today, possibly, because it's a Monday, a day where I have less going on, so maybe I'll come back and do that at some point today. Be on the lookout for that. It's just going to be me kind of shooting the shit, though, and trying to remember everything. I might need to bring up some informational guides for it. It's not going to be that informed. Well, maybe it will be reasonably informative, and I might do an updated NFL one at some point soon as well. But be on the lookout for that. So subscribe to the channel. Listen on audio, Apple, Spotify, Spreaker. Covered in Uke is my ukulele channel on YouTube. You can check that out. Patreon.com/LearnToToad if you want to support me that way. And Losercast back tomorrow night, every Tuesday night. We have some obvious losers for the week. And what else do we have? Oh, the New York Giants G-Spot podcast. Yeah, I got to talk to Ben about that. I don't know exactly how we're going to do that, but I agree with Tampa Bay on the run line, but the money seems to completely disagree with it. I agree with that one, though. I considered that one. That's, I think, one of the better opinions of the day that I have, but that's going to do it. Mr. Pinsey, you're the only one in the chat today. I appreciate it, even though I'm a negative piece of shit, but I appreciate it. I've got my college football hat on. We're ready to go, man. I got the Noah Kaniga merchandise, and I just picked up a college baseball Samford jersey for Chris Fago. You know how that's spelled. So I have Kaniga and Fago. You know what I mean. So I'm really I'm styling here with my college merchandise. That's gonna do it. Peace.
If the dark starts talking, hand me the phone. Let somebody answer, let somebody know. You do not have to lose this round alone. Hold on, not tonight, not now. Crown, hold on, stay with me now. Hold on, you're still here now.